Welcome back, everyone, to the Auburn Blitz here halfway through the program. I want to welcome in our good friend and Sports Blitz co-host, Luke Robinson, that handles the Alabama side for us. And, Luke, you don't need any introduction on this show. You've been a part of it for a long time. And, yeah, you get in and you pretty much watch us every day and in the back and forth. But on a monumental day for Alabama football, as yesterday was, it was very fitting to have you on today. And like you just told me, you said you woke up this morning, it was kind of a panic. It was kind of a weird situation if you're an Alabama fan this morning.
It is. I mean, it's a sad day. But again, that old saying of, hey, don't be sad because it's over, be happy that it happened. And as I've said on the show a gazillion times, all our various shows, that I was going to go to every championship game Nick Saban was in because I'm going to ride this train till it ends. And I'm so thankful that I did. And if Alabama had been fortunate enough to beat Michigan, I would have found a way to go to Houston amid all the bad weather, amid the complicated travel and the money. I would have found a way because I feel like this is going to be a run that will never, ever, ever be duplicated. Some of the stats that are coming out about Nick Saban, he's 11-1 in SEC championship games, and the one was a loss to Tim Tebow and Florida team that won the national championship. And I doubt Florida was going to lose to anybody after they lost to Ole Miss at home that year. So I went down the list of guys who have beaten the coaches that have beaten Nick Saban while at Alabama, and that all the losses, I mean, there were a couple of them that were by double digits, maybe three of them. I know this year against Texas, Alabama lost by 10. Clemson blew Alabama out in the 19 championship game, just blew them out, no other way to say it. And Auburn won by 12 in Jordan-Hare in 2017. But otherwise, all the games either went into overtime or were one-score games, or Alabama had a chance to win, or, it was a kick six or a doinked field goal. I mean, just the most unbelievable stuff that could possibly happen. That's how I think Nick Saban is really the best coach ever. I can name every single loss he had while at Alabama, and he was at Alabama 16, 17 years. You're not going to be able to do that for any other coach. I don't care how much you study because they start to run together a little bit. But with Saban, it's the victories that run together. And my cohort on Locked on Bama, Jimmy Stein, said it best. Nick Saban took away the worry of Alabama being upset. Now, did Alabama ever get upset technically by the spread? Of course they did. But they never had to worry post-Louisiana Monroe about losing to La Monroe or losing to New Mexico State. It just wasn't in the cards. It wasn't going to happen. And you think about it, he's undefeated against Arkansas, low these many years. Now, Arkansas has been a bad team, but nobody else is undefeated against them.
Well, Luke, I wanted to bring this part up. I want to get a couple things in before the segment's over and we have to let you go. I want to try to rush through some of this. It was mind-numbing to me. We were in a text thread earlier, and one of our good Auburn friends said, "Welcome to our world." We were talking about coaching searches, and you fired back, "Look, I've been in your world. There's 17-year-old kids that don't understand what Alabama went through prior to Nick Saban, and the turmoil and the coaching. We like to pick at each other, Alabama fans and Auburn fans, and we do, and it gets heated sometimes. But for the most part, what goes around comes around. And right now, we get." We're going through that. We've kind of been through some turmoil. It's actually hard to believe. I saw the stat. This new coach at Alabama will be the sixth since 2000. Auburn's hired 5 in that time frame. So I know it feels like a lot lately that Auburn's flipping coaches, but that's what it felt like to us pre-Nick Saban, that Alabama was going through a coach every 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, definitely. And, he didn't just bring stability. He brought stability rooted in unreasonable success. I mean, nobody could have dreamed things were going to be this amazing for him. And look, Alabama's good. He's leaving Alabama in a great spot. I don't think he's leaving it in necessarily in the timing the way he wants to. I still believe there's something on the personal side that is maybe forcing his hand, or at least making it where, hey, this is just the best call for me and my family right now. I really believe Nick Saban would have kept coaching. And the reason I say this, nobody, and I know people that know him, nobody knew this was coming. Nobody. And to keep something like this under wraps is practically impossible. So I think that, look, Nick Saban's the best to ever do it. And so for Alabama fans, what I'm going to say is don't expect the next guy to be Saban. There will never be, ever, another Nick Saban, ever, under any circumstance. So don't hold the next guy to those standards. And the good news for the next guy, instead of trying to meet those standards, I think the losses, the importance of a loss will be diluted because you have a 12-team playoff. So that is positive for the next guy because he doesn't have to meet up to these unrealistic expectations. So he can still make the playoffs, even if he does get upset or loses to an Arkansas or something like that. He can still make the playoffs. Whereas in the current landscape before this expansion, you really had to win just about all your games, and sometimes even that wasn't enough.
Hey, Luke, before we let you go, now we do shift focus to who the next guy is. In your opinion, this thing's fluid. We've been talking about it all morning. One guy's here, all of a sudden, now he's out, and then another guy's in, now he's out. In your opinion, when the dust settles, who do you think it is?
Gosh, I really don't know. My vote would have been Lanning. He's obviously staying at Oregon. I think there were some contract snafus there. And I would be fine with Kalen DeBoer, but I worry about his recruiting. I like Steve Sarkisian. Will he leave Texas for Alabama? I don't know, but, I mean, I would say the same thing about people who thought Nick Saban would leave Bama for Texas. And then Lane Kiffin, I'll tell you this. If Lane Kiffin were hired, I think Alabama would win these first couple of years, and they'd be the most interesting team in college football until he was ultimately fired, which he would be. And I feel like that could be like a Larry Coker type situation, which worries me. Or Mike Norvell. The one thing about Mike Norvell, I like him as a coach, but I almost would feel even sorrier for Florida State fans who have been taking it on the chin from Alabama almost unintentionally here recently. So there's not a slam dunk out there. There's some slam dunks relative to this year. There's not a Nick Saban out there because there probably never will be another Nick Saban.
No, don't think you'll ever find one. Well, Luke, we appreciate it, brother, taking some time to join us today, and obviously we'll all be following this very closely.
All right, guys, have a good one.
Thanks so much. Going to go to break, come back. We'll have another guest on the program. Stay tuned. More Auburn Blitz right after this.